can't say good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. We are coming to you for a different time this week, a different day, a different time of day. I'm drinking soda, not coffee. It's all confusing. Oh boy. We are Southborough Youth and Family Services. My name is Sarah Castle. I am the director of Southborough Youth and Family. With me this afternoon, see, this is the problem. With me this afternoon, I have Megan Island, who's our assistant director. Good afternoon, Megan.
Good afternoon.
Boy. And I have Shannon Knyman, who is our program coordinator. Good afternoon, Shannon.
Hello, Sarah.
And we have Joyce Macknauskas. Did I say your last name right, Joyce?
You did a great
Oh,
job.
thank you. Thank goodness. Joyce is with us today to talk to us about gardening and specifically about the Southborough Gardening Club. So good afternoon, Joyce. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
That's great. Well, should we toast?
Okay.
I could do this.
Oh, no.
I have tea.
Okay, you're
Oh,
good.
that's
Oh,
smart.
look it. See,
This is
everybody
like
still
my
has a
fourth cup of coffee today.
Oh boy,
So if I
Oh,
start
my.
like, I don't know.
baking
Yeah,
uncontrollably.
really, you're pretending I'm a hummingbird or something, then.
Yeah. Did you have a late night or not sleep that well or just really liking coffee today?
Well,
Too
no, I
much
mean,
candy.
Yes.
no, generally I have like a couple of cups in the morning. Sometimes I'll have like a third in the afternoon or whatever, but I just ended up having 3 this morning. And then it was like, oh man, now what do I do? But tea was a good idea, Joyce.
Yeah.
Good work, Joyce.
Uh,
Well, how was everybody's weekend? For some people, it was a holiday, and for others, it was just a beautiful day. Actually, both days were really lovely, right? I remember, why can't I remember 2 days ago? I don't know, but I know I went for a bike ride with my family on Saturday, so I think the weather was nice that day, and I know yesterday was lovely too. Did anybody do anything fun or get outside?
Well, it's a very changeable day. It started out really cold. I take
Mm.
my dog for a walk every day,
Yeah.
and when the sun's out, you think it's going to be warm, but it wasn't in the morning. So
Yeah.
got nice in the afternoon.
Yeah. It's a funny time of year. You don't really know how to dress. You have to have
Mhm.
layers. Because then when the sun starts to go down, I remember feeling that yesterday. It's like, whoo, it's chilly now.
Mm.
And this is the time of the year when you lose your jacket.
Yes, yes, because you put it down
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Well, we are so excited to have Joyce with us today and to talk about gardening. Being a mental health department, social services department, you might ask yourself, well, why are we talking about gardening? But on this show, we like to, on occasion, mix things up. We've had a lot of sort of heavier topics recently, and we want to try to highlight some strategies for managing stress or enhancing your quality of life in ways that you may not have previously thought of doing. And gardening, especially this time of year, can be a really nice outlet for that. And I know internally we all have different levels of gardening ability and knowledge. Is that putting it correctly, guys? I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
So we thought it would be helpful to learn more about gardening, to talk with Joyce about it, maybe highlight the ways that gardening can help with stress and increasing quality of life. So Joyce, maybe we can start by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got involved in the Southborough Gardening Club.
Well, I lived in Southborough for many years, over 45. And when we first moved to Southborough, It was because it was equidistant for my husband and myself. We just pointed to a location on the map. So there was no particular reason to be here, except that it was halfway between Logan International Airport and Worcester. And when I came to Southborough, I was very open to new things. And Southborough Gardeners offers a November guest day every year. And I went to that, and maybe you've been to it, or many of your viewers have been. And it's a wonderful event where the garden club has someone come in and they give a demonstration. And the demonstrator was so funny. She was making arrangements, but she was using fruits, and she had a lime in one of the arrangements, and then she decided to have a gin and tonic. So she used the lime in her drink. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is fun. And all the ladies in town, or wherever they were from, wore their nice clothes that day. And everybody was so welcome. And even though I went alone, it just gave me a good feeling. So years go by and I'm still working, and I have a friend, Diane Higgins, who is a member of the Southborough Gardeners. And she would invite me to join, but I couldn't because I worked. And as soon as I retired, she said, well, now's the time. So I joined, and 20 years later, I'm still with Southborough Gardeners, and moved my way up the ladder to be president this year, which is an honor and a privilege. And so that's my story.
That's great. Now I have to ask, were you, before joining the club, were you somebody who gardened, or were you a novice?
Well, way back in Philadelphia, where I grew up in a brownstone with not much of a yard, my father had a garden, my uncle had a garden, and they were all very small because there wasn't any land. But they talked about them and encouraged them, and spring was the time for the tomato plants, and the critter would still eat the thing. So it's actually, it started subliminally when I was very young. And then when I had my own yard and a place to plant, it was like, well, there's a lot I can do with this if I spend some time and effort. But so that's kind of my interest. And it's just always, you were talking about the mental health aspect. If I could jump ahead a little bit with that, it's just so encouraging. Last year during the pandemic, it was a stressful time for everyone. But in the fall, we replanted the bulbs at the triangle, and they came up in spite of everything else that was happening. I don't know if you saw them when you drove by, all of these purple tulips. Being on the triangle, the critters weren't able to get to the bulbs because tulip bulbs are very delicious and they're kind of hard to grow. But with so much traffic, they didn't bother taking their life in their hands. So just to plant something, it just gives you continuity. If someone's having a struggle with a disease and they plant bulbs in the fall, and they don't know that they're going to make it to the spring, if they plant them anyway, it helps you get there. If you know what I mean. It's something positive to look forward to, and it won't let you down. It might not be what you thought it was going to be, but nothing is. And it happens in spite of anything else that's going on.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like thinking of it that way. That's great.
Yeah. Joyce, tell us a little bit about membership. Like how many members are there? What kinds of gardens do people have?
Well, we have It started out with limited membership, and the reason we have a limited membership of 40 is because 50 years ago, when garden clubs started, they were hosted, the meetings were hosted in people's homes. Okay, so that's why, and we still kept it that way today. We still have 40 members maximum. But times are changing. We can't stick with that because if we can accommodate more people, as they always say, the more the merrier. But right now, our membership is down for one reason or another. A lot of people are working more and hesitate to take on one more thing. And our older members are sort of bowing out. And so we have open membership right now. And the way that works is someone can get in touch with Southborough Gardeners at southboroughgardeners@gmail.com, easy enough address. I would get the email and get in touch with them. And we like to have, at this time, we're doing little flower arrangings or just get together, socially distanced and with masks, just to talk. We used to have people come to meetings, but we're not having meetings, and we don't want to discourage people from being a Southborough gardener, because we really want your hands and your heart and your head. So we're open.
Great. So do people have, is it primarily, my only real experience with gardening has been with growing vegetables, but I imagine that there's different types of gardens. Do your members have, some have vegetables, some have flowers, or is it a mix?
It is a mix, and it's a mix as far as percentage of wonderfulness, if you know what I mean. My garden will not be on a garden tour, but I would be the first one to help organize it. Someone else doesn't go to many meetings because they're always pruning and trimming and repotting and replanting, and it's always fun when you go to another gardener's house if you have to drop something off. At this time, we're not getting together in people's houses. So it's really fun because they might want to show you something. Oh, you have to see my hellebores that you gave me last year. And then you see their other touches of creativity. So it varies. I do fruits and vegetables. I don't do fruits, I do vegetables because I'm also involved with the raised bed gardens over at the senior center. And so the lettuce is coming up there. And if you ever want to be encouraged, just take a ride over to the senior center and look at that garden. It's even if you don't have one of your own, you can pick some lettuce and have it on your sandwich. It's free. It's welcome.
Cool.
That's awesome.
I've heard about the Southborough Gardeners having different kinds of events. Can you tell us a little bit about some of them?
Well, I can, and please let me know if you want me to elaborate on any one of them. But our first one is in October. We have a booth at Heritage Day, and it's basically just answer questions. We might have some little decorated pumpkins or something for you to buy, but mostly it's to encourage membership. That's what Heritage Day for us is about. November Guest Day is what I was talking about, and that has continued every year, except this year things closed. Well, whatever, we won't get into that. And November Guest Day is a wonderful event. Don't need to be negative. The holiday wreath hanging, we hang wreaths around the town and then we also do a wreath workshop if anyone would like to sign up and come to that. We have a plant sale usually around Mother's Day, and that's at the community house. And that's pretty much our big money-making event Most other things we give back. So the plant sale is our way of putting a little money into our account so that we can spend money on these other events where we usually don't make any money. It's usually a gift because we love Southborough.
How nice. That's lovely.
And you guys have a big one coming up this weekend, right?
Yes, we do. Thank you for mentioning that, Shannon. You may have already gotten an email from the library director, Ryan Donovan. We work very closely with Ryan. He's fabulous if you know him or not, but he's so good about being involved in lots of things. We love the books and what the library offers us. And this week on Thursday, and the weather looks like it's going to be good, we have an event and it's called Books in Bloom. And the librarians picked out books and the gardeners decided which one inspired them. And Happy Dreams inspired me for a couple different reasons. And I bet you know the first reason. Maybe. The title. The title, Happy Dreams. How could you go wrong? How could you go wrong with Happy Dreams?
That's right.
Something everybody wants. So anyway, I was able to get the book because I am president and I got first choice.
All right.
I'm sure everybody else
Benefits.
did. So then my friend, Lisa Maselli, who was born and raised in Southborough, but now lives in Northborough, helped with my container. So the first thing is the book. The second thing is the container. I don't know if you can see this,
Yep.
but it is a bicycle that is actually same as the cover.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's beautiful.
So the next step for me, and flowers are expensive, so I did not buy the flowers today to show you how I would go about making this, because I want it to be fresh and beautiful on Thursday when everyone comes by Common Street by the cemetery that's in between the library and town hall, because all of our arrangements will be on the wall, similar to how we did the pumpkin thing. I don't really know who does that around Halloween.
Yeah.
People carve pumpkins and put them on the wall.
Right.
So my next step is I need to figure out color, what color flowers would go complement this container. The height of the flower arrangement, which as you see, this is pretty big. So I need height and I need contrast. I need color. I have to keep it up to a certain dimension. I need to make sure that my median, whatever I use, I'm going to use Oasis. Except a lot of times, because it's ecologically correct, is I use chicken wire. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you can put chicken wire into a receptacle, and then it helps hold your medium, your material, your flowers. And so that's our big excitement for this week, and it's our gift to the town. And the gardeners are preparing it. The librarians picked out all the books, and it's just going to be almost like a flash. Like last year we did a flower flash, and this year it's just going to be a flash. You snooze, you lose. It's between it's between 12 noon and 4 in the afternoon, trying to accommodate maybe people with children, with school, with going to work. If you work at the town hall, maybe you can walk by. If you're someplace else, maybe you could drive by, or It's going to be a beautiful day, and talk about uplifting. If you're sad, come see the flower arrangements. You can't be sad if your hands are in the dirt or you're looking at flowers. So
Yeah.
most times. So that's our big event. And while we're here, can I mention, there was a magazine that tried to make it in Southborough. It was called Southborough Living. And I actually was published in December of 2020, right before they folded. And it was who we are and what we do. So so if anybody wants a copy, I can, not the actual magazine, because it's not available. But that was exciting, and it really helped me think about just exactly, who we are and what we do.
That's great. Lovely.
Yeah. Can't get better than books and flowers. Unless there's chocolate there. Is there going to be chocolate there?
Bring your own chocolate. Bring your own. Walk and eat chocolate.
I have a broken bunny, but I ate his ears already. I don't know.
I'll just pour M&Ms into my mask and
Yeah, there you go.
keep it safe.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Shannon, because I wanted to get hospitality involved, but everything you do is questionable.
Right.
Do we offer water? Do we have, snacks? And wouldn't you love to? I just love to, bake brownies or something and have them available, but
Yeah.
not today. Maybe next time.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
So a question that I had, and it's I'll pose it to Sarah and Megan. What are some of the mental health benefits for gardening and flowers? And
Well, I love what Joyce said earlier about how if you're struggling with something, it reminds me a lot of something we've said to parents before about, helping their children with self-esteem. And sometimes we recommend, if the family's up for it, getting a pet for the child, because it builds confidence when you can take care of something or someone. I imagine that that's true for gardening as well, that when you can cultivate something and nurture it and, and be responsible for something, it really can be helpful there. But Megan, I imagine, I think when we were talking about this, we were talking about the mindfulness aspect of gardening. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying to that first part too, especially if you're growing vegetables and then giving them to your family and like seeing that final product on the table, like I helped grow this and now my family's eating it. But mindfulness and that experience of being outside, I think of that as like it can be an informal mindfulness practice, really just trying to fully immerse yourself in the experience of being outside while you're planting, while you're even just like sitting in the garden, or if you're looking at the flowers and really trying to fully experience it with all your senses. We've talked about mindfulness a lot on the show for our regular followers. So I think being in nature and having a garden and having regular access to that can be a really good opportunity to experience mindfulness. And also it can encourage you to get outside, which that in itself we talk about frequently as well, I think is another really good benefit of gardening.
So Joyce, we have only a couple of minutes left. I'm wondering two things. One is, if somebody were interested in joining Southborough Gardeners, how do they do that? And also, what if you're somebody who's never gardened before? As I said at the top of the show, we're kind of internally here on the show at various stages and or abilities and knowledge about gardening. So do you have suggestions on a good place to start? And do you have suggestions for anybody who might want to join Southborough Gardeners?
Well, we do have, we're on Facebook under Southborough Gardeners, and that's a good place to take a look, and you can see some of the things that we do. Another good way to get involved is to come to an event. You know, come to the Books in Bloom this week, and we'll be there to answer any questions. We tried doing flyers, but that really, didn't seem to work for us. It's more if someone realizes they have a little time, and I would encourage them to not be afraid. We're really open. We're very varied. We have all ages and abilities. And basically, you're better off if you don't know much about gardening, because you can learn. A lot of we have a monthly program, and our programs are geared toward teaching and helping our members develop. So don't ever be afraid. And may as well plug my yearbook. This is a yearbook that I made, and where attention goes, energy flows is on the back. And that is a beautiful weed that I saw every day last year when I was walking. And even a weed can be beautiful. And so I'd be happy to show anyone a yearbook. That really helps to get information and, just what we do. We meet once a month from September to till June. And in June, we have an end of the year meeting and luncheon, and it's so much fun. And I'm hoping, keep my fingers crossed, that we have an indoor all-together luncheon. Hope I didn't take too much time.
I hope that for you too. That would be great. Sounds like lovely things you guys do. And it's wonderful to hear how welcoming you are to all abilities. Because if I would be intimidated personally, if somebody made the suggestion to me to go to the Southborough Gardeners, I'd say, I've potted a flower and a plant before. That's about the extent of my. So that's great. That's great because it's a nice opportunity to learn, and it's not just about people who are, experienced gardeners getting together. So wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing the opportunity with viewers. I should ask, the membership, is it open to residents of other communities, or is this for Southborough residents?
That's a very good question. It's only open to Southborough residents.
Okay.
However, if you are a member and you move to another community, you can keep your membership.
Okay. So I'd say to viewers, let this be a yet again another sales pitch from us, that whether it's with Southborough Gardeners or otherwise, that now is a wonderful time to try gardening. And there's a lot of wonderful mental health benefits for various reasons, to get outside, to watch something grow and to nurture it, to provide flowers or vegetables for your loved ones. Just so many great reasons. And the mindfulness aspect that Megan talked about. And Southborough Gardeners in particular has some really great opportunities if you live here in town. Next week, let's see, I have to always look at the date. Next week we're going to go back to Tuesday. Tuesday is our regular day and time at 10 a.m. We'll be live streaming at 10 on Facebook. And we're going to be talking about, we kind of touched upon this today, things are starting to resemble normalcy a little bit. Numbers are getting a little bit better-ish, but vaccination rates are going up. The weather is getting better. And yet, I think this conversation started because a lot of changes with school scheduling. That also kind of reminds us of a little bit of normalcy. For some families, their children are going back to school full-time. All of that said, yet many of us are still experiencing pretty high levels of anxiety and feeling like it's hard to know how to behave, how to feel, where to stand, and it's hard to make sense of it. So we're going to be talking about that. That's a really bad synopsis that I just gave. Not a synopsis at all. But we're going to be talking about how to adjust, what to expect, how to be kind to yourself despite all of this next week. And we hope to see you then. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.